What's up guys, it's Rokta here and welcome back to yet another amazing video on the channel. For today I actually have a new updated deck profile of a deck that we did show on the channel, but I have been testing this deck and I have actually found a new way to play the deck entirely. So I've been looking at researching other deck profiles, looking at how they play, and they sort of stick to a control aspect. I did like that theory, but I've taken it up a notch and I've actually found a way to consistently make the boss monster, which is in other builds sort of impossible to do because you need to actually survive a bunch of turns with a deck that isn't that good. But in this version, the deck actually is crazy strong because it matches with another engine that I will be showing you, and in my opinion is actually really fun to play and will be entirely budget after the Megatin reprints. So without any further ado, we're going to get straight into this deck profile. If you do enjoy these types of videos, make sure you do subscribe down below and leave a like. You might as well subscribe, it's free and you'll be entered into all our giveaways. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. So let's start with the deck profile here. It is of course 40 cards and it of course is mutants, as you can see by the title, but stick around, this isn't any standard mutant build. So we're going to start off with of course triple mutant M05. If you are confused in what they search, just look at the little letter beside. M stands for monsters and he does search the monster cards. So triple of him because he is really important to the deck. The two little ones, I might as well just show you now, sort of adds your spells and traps and your monsters, and they all both have that effect to basically bring out the boss monsters from the deck. So very important, very crucial that you max out on playing all of them because it helps a lot with consistency. That is it for the standard mutant package. Of course, we're going to be playing the standard monster lineup as well, which is just one of each. You're playing one of each because you can bring them out from the deck whenever, and you can of course recycle them whenever you want with your trap. So very good. Beast is probably the best one because he's a spell negate. Arsenal sort of just blows up a monster, and Mist lets you draw 2 cards. They all do this by banishing cards from the field or in your hand, so really nice in my opinion. Just sucks when you draw them. They're all different types too, which can come up in case there's like a deck and the only one on the field. For the actual supporting engine here, we're of course adding Dogmatikas, but just stick around guys. We're playing double Ecclesia and one of each of the Maximus and Fleur de Lis. Very standard here, but it does help the deck out insane amount. It actually helps it out a crazy amount, takes it to the next level in my opinion. And you'll be seeing why Maximus is very important in this build, because he will actually be sending your big level 8 mutants from your extra deck to the grave, which lets you fusion summon for your big Mechaba-like mutant monster very consistently, very easily as well. So this is the ratio I'm playing. I believe this is the very standard, lineup, and it's very well. And for the hand traps here, we're literally just playing triple Gamma, and that is basically all the hand traps we need. You can add more hand traps, and I will tell you what card I will potentially cut to add more hand traps, but Gamma is just absolutely insane. Removes the body and negates the effect, so crazy. Moving on to the spells now, we got triple Nadir Servant, a very important card. It sends one from your extra deck to the grave. Again, very important. We're actually maximizing those effects because we need our big level 8 mutants in the grave, so then we can fusion summon with our trap during our opponent's turn into our big mutant boss monster. So triple Nadir Servant, this will usually grab you the Maximus or the Ecclesia, and then we'll set up your whole Dogmatika engine. For the mutant spells here, we're literally just playing double Mutant Evolution Lab and the 1 Mutant Fusion. This is it for our mutant spells. I'm playing 1 Mutant Fusion because if your opponent does anything during your turn, you basically just become a Shadow Fusion, and in my opinion that's really good. And the double Evolution Lab was testing this out at 3 and was testing this out at 1. This is kind of important sometimes because it lets you get your 2 bodies on the board to make your cross sheep, which means you can search your Ecclesia, helps you get an extra body on the board, and the cross sheep will activate during your opponent's turn, summoning back one of the little ones, getting you an additional search. So it's kind of important. If you guys don't know what this does, when you activate it, specials 1, a level 4 lower mutant monster that is banished or from your hand, and also has an effect to place a big boss monster that you maybe drew to the bottom of the deck and then draw a card. So it's quite useful. Not playing at 3 because you can search it out, but not playing it at 1 because sometimes it is nice to see in your hand. Moving on for the other spells, we're playing 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Emergency Teleport, and 1 Upstart Goblin. So we're playing the Upstart Goblin for consistency. We want this deck to be as consistent as possible. Same with the E-Telly. This is literally just an extra copy of your little guys without using your normal. So this card is very good. And the call by is to play through many hand traps. Droll sort of hurts this deck, Ash hurts this deck, so that is why. For the traps here, and there are a lot of them, we'll start with the Mutant ones. We're playing triple Mutant Expansion and triple Mutant Cry. These cards are actually vital to the deck. Mutant Cry is probably the best one because it allows you to fusion summon using your mutant monsters from the banish pile, from the field, and from the grave by shuffling them back into the deck. So not only does it fusion summon from incredible places, it actually lets you recycle everything back into the deck to do it once again. And what expansion does is it basically just specials you a mutant monster from your deck or adds it to your hand. So very, very important cards. The fact that expansion isn't continuous, that you banish it from the field as well to activate effects of your mutant guys, absolutely crazy. The more that you resolve your Mutant Cry, the further ahead you'll be in winning that game. In my opinion, this card is amazing. Moving on for the other traps now, we got Triple Summon Limit. I'm playing Triple Summon Limit because this deck, going after turn 1, you won't be special summoning or summoning in general more than twice per turn. Actually insane in this deck, because if you do want to get rid of it, you can just banish it for cost, and then you can summon a bunch of times, and then if you have another one, just flip it up during your opponent's turn again. Very, very underrated card in my opinion. This card stops a lot of decks this format, and people don't really expect it. They're counting to number 5 for Nibiru, when really they should be counting to number 2. For the other power traps here, we're playing one Schism and one Skill Drain. We're playing the Schism because we are, of course, using the Shaddoll package in the extra deck. Basically ends you on your opponent's turn with a Winder as well, which is absolutely insane. And we do have a Skill Drain because, yes, it inflicts with your Shaddoll and your Dogmatika engine, but Skill Drain doesn't actually affect the mutants because they banish for cost. They tribute and banish for cost, so Skill Drain absolutely doesn't affect them, so in my reason, that's reason enough to play it. And for the last trap here, the card I am considering cutting for Triple Ash, it is of course the Torrential Tributes. The reason I'm playing Torrential Tribute is because not only does it punish your opponent for basically doing anything, if you have your expansion up, your expansion can actually protect your mutant monsters by just sending itself to the grave, I believe. And yeah, expansion has that sort of lingering effect, so when you do Torrential, your mutant monsters will stay alive. So that synergy, in my opinion, is reason enough why I'm testing out Torrential. If you don't like Torrential or you want more hand traps, just in my opinion, cut this out and play triple of any other hand trap that you feel like. So that is it for the main deck. In my opinion, it is actually very consistent in this build, and Gamma is actually very, very good because if you didn't know, the mini mutant monsters do remove themselves from the field to activate their effect, and if you do get Ash, that is sort of very, very difficult to play through. That is why Gamma is very important. So with that being said, this is 40 cards, and we're going to be moving on now to the extra deck. Okay, so now we're moving on to the extra deck here. It is actually very, very tight. We're only playing one link, and that is only the Cross Sheep. I couldn't find any more room to cut out cards because every card in the extra deck is really important. You can play a Almirage, which basically helps because your mutant monster get a search and link it off into Almirage, and that helps you get your Ecclesia onto the board. But I'm testing it out with just the Cross Sheep for now, and the Cross Sheep is actually insane. If you fusion summon, basically underneath its arrows, you can revive yourself one of your little mutants, which gets you a search. So very, very nice. You can do it during your opponent's turn and just be constantly adding cards. For the fusions here, we are playing triple Mutant Ultimus. If it hasn't been said enough, we're playing 3 of him because we're going to be sending 2 copies of him to the grave via the Dogmatika cards, and then we're actually, with the fusion, going to be shuffling them back with another level 8 into the extra deck to then summon your 3rd copy of Ultimateness. This takes 3 level 8 or higher mutant monsters, which is kind of really, really difficult to do in a standard mutant build, but with this build, it helps you get it out almost every single turn, guys. You send 2 to the grave, and then all you need to do is end on a beast, which is also level 8, and basically then just shuffle all 3 and make your ultimates. You make your mutant Ultimateness, and basically this card is absolutely insane. If you guys don't know what this does, it's basically a better Mikaba. It basically can negate and banish anything by not only banishing a card from your hand, but it also does the graveyard or face up in the field as long as it matches. So for example, we activate a spell, you can banish your mutant spell from the grave to then negate that. Same for traps and same for monsters. So actually insane. And when he gets outed, you basically refresh your hand, adding 3 different types of mutant banish cards from your banish pile to your hand. So absolutely crazy boss monster. Artwork is also insane. And when they do out him, you basically restart your entire engine. For another 3 up here, another insane fusion mutant monster here. We got triple mutant synthesis. What this guy does is basically when he's summoned, you pop a card. Very, very easy. Just takes 2 mutant monsters with different attributes. So again, you can make him with a beast and an ultimateness in the grave, but usually you're going to be using your little guys to go into him. Very, very important card. Also has the ability to quick effect make himself unaffected by everything that you call. So call monster is unaffected, call spell is unaffected, and call trap is unaffected. So amazing card. Also looks absolutely insane in my opinion, especially these American copies. And now for the other Dogmatika bits here, we're playing 2 Ash Dragon. You can cut this down to 1 and play the Almirage, but I have had a few games where the Ash the first one, and then you sort of need to send the second one at some point to the grave to restart the entire thing. So I'm playing 2 Ash Dragon, very standard. Basically what he does is in the end phase, he either adds you or special summons a Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand. You usually add the Fleur de Lis, and that lets you negate things. We're playing the 1 Winder here and the 1 App Cologne. This is basically what's going to enable you into your Shuttle Schism plays, because Titaniclad is a dark and App Cologne is a Shuttle. You can banish both and get your Winder, and when App Cologne goes to the grave, you basically search your Schism. So that is why we're playing both of these. Winder is an absolutely insane card. Yeah, basically you can only special summon once per turn. That's for both your players. But once you've established Winder, you can just fusion summon with your trap once per turn and win the game from there. For the other fusions, I am playing 1 Skull Knight and 1 Entis. You can play 2 Entis, you can play 2 Skull Knight. I'm just playing 1 of each. Entis is just a pop when it hits the grave, and Skull Knight is a monster pop, but you get to pick when. It doesn't actually have to trigger when you send it to the grave. You can banish it later on and then get the pop effect. For the last 2 cards, I'm playing 1 Dingisu because all our boss monsters are level 8 and we do need an Outer Dragoon, which is the Ding. And we are of course playing the 1 Omega for the Gamma package. If you guys do want to play the Almirage, the card I would consider cutting would be either 1 Ash Dragon, 1 Omega or 1 Ding. It really depends on what you prefer, but cutting one of those out for the Almirage will sort of make your Ecclesia more live in some situations. So that is it for the deck profile. I'm now going to be showing you a 2-card combo so you guys can see exactly how explosive this control deck is. Okay guys, so this is going to be the 2-card combo. I have zoomed the camera out so you can see exactly what is going on. These are the 2 cards that we have in our hand. I'm going to assume there's 3 other cards and that we're going first. The 3 other cards can literally be anything. It does not matter at all. As long as you have ST46 and a Nadir 7, you can do this combo many different ways, but this is just the simplest way to do it. So we're going to start off our turn. We're going to normal summon our ST46. We're going to activate its effect, and this grabs us our Mutant Cry. This is a very important card for later on. And now from here, we activate our Nadir 7. We're going to be sending a Mutant Ultimus to our grave. So this is the first one that's going to be hitting the grave. And we're going to be grabbing a Maximus. Nadir 7 resolves. We can no longer special summon from the extra deck this turn. We're going to use Maximus effect by summoning himself by banishing our Ultimus. Then we're going to use his effect. So we're going to send a Ad Cologne here. And we're actually going to send a second Ultimus to the grave here. Now we activate our Ad Cologne effect. And this basically grabs us our Schism, and we send whatever card from our hand that we don't want to the grave. And now the last thing we've got to do here is use our ST46 effect, tribute itself, and we're going to banish our Maximus, and we're actually going to special summon our Beast here. So that is now the end of our turn. We'll set these 2 cards, and we pass the turn from there. So during our opponent's turn, we have actually a spell negate here. We banish our Beast. After we do that, we will be activating our Schism. So what we do is, we take our App Cologne and our Ultimus, and we banish them. And this lets us summon our Winder. So now our opponent can only special summon once more during this turn. We can also send something if they control the dark, but that's not important. What's important now is basically we will activate our Mutant Cry, and we'll shuffle back 3 level 8s, which will be our 2 Ultimus and Beast. Since this card can do from the banish pile, this goes to the deck. These 2 go back into the extra deck, and here we make our Ultimus, and this goes to the grave. So now what we have is our opponent can only special summon once, and we do have a monster or trap negate by banishing either ST46 or Mutant Cry from our grave. So that is basically what this deck does. It basically spams out your Ultimus. If you didn't feel like making Ultimus and you needed just a pop, you can of course just shuffle 2 back, probably the Beast and a Ultimus, and make a Synthesis, which also just pops a card as well. So this deck is very, very very friendly to whatever type of plays you want to do. You can go about it many different ways. The fact that Maximus banishing the Ultimus in the grave doesn't matter at all is basically insane. If the Cry couldn't do from the banish pile, the combo would be a lot harder to do, but since it does from the banish pile, it's basically just a free Omni negate of whatever you want once per turn. And when they do, make sure you do go banishing. You banish your ST46 first if possible, so when this card, if it gets outed, goes to the grave, you will add back your ST46 back to your hand and you can do the combo all over again. So that's it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy my take on basically the best Mutant version that I've seen so far. I haven't seen any other variants that really utilize the Dogmatika package as much as I do in order to bring out your Ultimus. Once you make him, you realize how insane this card is. The artwork as well is just absolutely insane, which doesn't do it any harm either. So without any further ado, I'm going to be logging out of this video. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below what you guys thought, any improvements that you can make to the deck, and I will catch you in the next video.